So welcome everyone to the introduction to Backgammon Heroes with Art Benjamin and Karen Davis. Art,
And I also want to say hi to Rory Pascar, who may even know more about the subject than I do. So I'm delighted to have him in the room as well.
Rory, I'm going to unmute you so that if you want to add anything, feel free, okay?
Oh, I didn't say unmute Rory. I just said we wanted to say.
Yeah, you might not want to do that.
Good God, what have you done? Okay. So
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna
before you get started, Art, why do we like heroes? And can you just walk through what the benefit is?
okay, well, I'm gonna say for me, the number one benefit for heroes is you can pause the clock. That is, if you're playing a match and you need to pause for whatever reason, other backgammon platforms out there don't let you stop the clock. And that could be a source of family drama, conflict, personal strife, personal hygiene even. You need to be able to pause and and you can communicate with your opponent. That's the number two reason I like this platform is I can talk to my opponent. I can say nice things to them. I can, chat about things later. I love the fact that it's very customizable. I'll show you the settings that I'm using, but Rory actually has settings named after him, so we've got those options. And lastly, and this was something that Karen introduced to me, is we have the you can play in consultation match mode, which is the best way of getting immediate feedback while playing your game. You don't even have to wait for the game to end to know whether you've made some major mistakes or major good plays, right? So that's why I like I like Heroes. Big fan. I play on other platforms, but for tournaments,
Hey, Art,
the way to go. Yeah, right.
can I add something to that about the clock?
Yeah.
And that is one of my favorite things about Heroes, that you can pause the clock. But one thing a lot of people don't realize, and one thing you didn't mention, is that actually at the end of every single game, the clock is automatically paused.
Right.
So if you want to take a quick bathroom run between games, as long as the first person doesn't play their checkers and pick up their dice, the clock is paused.
That's
And
right.
the clock does not continue in the start of another game until the first player does pick up their dice.
As
So
we'll
that's a
see
fantastic feature.
in the match we're about to play. So, Karen, how about a 3-point match? I think we might be able to show off the nuances of Heroes with that. And okay, so
I'd put myself on busy just so I wouldn't get other invitations, and I will put myself ready to play, and you can invite me to a
all right.
3-point match.
Okay. And you can see here, everyone, this is the match I just finished. I played a practice match just before this session just to get ready for this. And okay, so I'm going to exit my match here. Okay. And all right. So first thing is, when looking for an opponent, you can have the list you could have the list sorted in different ways, right? If you want to sort by player, it now has all the players listed in alphabetical order. I see there's Karen. I see she has her checkered flag. That means I could invite her. She's free to be invited. You could sort by rating. You could sort by country. I actually do that a lot. So now it's alphabetical by country, starting here at Argentina, going all the way down to, if I'm looking for among the US players, I may have more friends among the US players. I can see who's there. Or another way of sorting is by the flag. Here are people who are only looking for the handshake, are people who are looking for friends. Below that are all the people that are ready right now. That includes Karen. The black flags are busy, right? And I think that means they're playing a match. And the ones here with the circles are saying we are oh, these people are busy. And black means that they are playing the match now, so you can't invite them, right? And then these might represent things like, oh, these are people playing, ready to play in a tournament. But generally, if you're just looking for a match to play, the quickest thing to do is to sort by flag, find somebody that you want to invite. And I have my friends highlighted. That's a feature. So I say, oh, okay, Karen's here. Let's invite Karen.
And
And
Art,
I have to
Art,
click on her name. Yes, Karen.
Art, while you're on this screen, show people how to watch a match.
So to watch a match, you can, all right, so let's say I'm interested in watching a particular match here, then I can click, you see to the right of these matches listed here, you see these eyeballs. If you click on an eyeball, you can watch a match. I don't know if you can watch it when people are blacked out, or maybe their identities are concealed, but if I say, oh, let's let's look and see who, there's a WBIF tournament match going on. Marianne's playing. Look, I'm going to peek in on Marianne's match. So I click on this eyeball. And now we're watching Marianne playing Takata left. Okay. All right. So let's exit this match. See at the top left corner where it says menu. I click on that. I say exit match. And now I'm back to where I was. Okay. All right. So now let's play Karen. So I'm going to invite Karen. I keep doing that. I clicked on the flag. That's a common mistake. It's like what I'm supposed to do is click on her name. Okay. And now, what are the I'm going to invite her to play a 3-point match, and we'll make it a consultation match. And I think that requires us to be in BG Studio format. Okay. So,
So the consultation match means that during the match, you're going to get both voice and you're going to be able to see on the right-hand side whether they liked your play or not.
And more than that, you'll even be able to see what you should have played. It might wait a turn or two before it shows you whether the cube actions were right. But otherwise, it's when you make a play, you can get immediate feedback on any of your previous plays. So
before you do that though, can you just go through, the clock is off. Do people normally like a clock off?
Oh, well, let's put actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's put the clock on. We're going to go in something that is, I don't know, what's a pretty slow clock? I'll say
standard, yeah.
Standard. Okay, we'll go standard. And then to the right of that, it says 1:20:10. That means you have a 10-second delay and 120 seconds each. All right, for our little 3-point match. That's 2 minutes. That seems actually, to me, that's too fast. All right, so let's do.
Actually, Art, that should be 120 seconds per point. So it should be 360 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Rory. So so that would mean 6 minutes that we'd have. So we're getting 2 minutes per point, which is 6 minutes, and that I'm happy to do. So let's do that.
Before you do that, could you go through like what is rated and what is PR rated?
Okay. So do you want this match to count towards your rating? Do you want this match to count towards your PR? I'm personally, I don't pay that much attention to those numbers. I'm pretty agnostic as to where I am on my what my rating is on this server. So I have it rated on.
For those of us who don't want to be sitting at a 1,000 rating and nobody wants to play with us, yeah. How do you any thoughts on how we should if somebody's at an intermediate level, are there times they should play rated, times they shouldn't?
I say to me, honestly, I learn every time I play. So whether I'm playing someone much stronger or much weaker, I mean, I enjoy playing maybe people who are closer to my level of strength. But I'm mainly interested in playing people that are friendly, right? So to me, it doesn't matter. That's why I'll put myself in friends mode, which means any friend can invite me.
And,
So
and we also have a question from the field. Can you customize the clock?
yeah, so right now it's in standard mode. If we had put this in, say, ABT mode, we see still has 2 minutes per point at 6 minutes for this 3-point match, but now it's 12-second delay, like you would have in an ABT tournament, right? If you want to play speed gammon, you know, there are different settings for that. WBIF settings. I'll go with ABT setting because I like giving myself a 12-second delay. And any other questions before we begin? Let's see. It says more. What does more also do? I guess it allows you to keep the pip count on, which everybody I know likes to do that. I suppose if you're training for a tournament and you want to practice your pip counting skills, you might turn it off. But observer analysis, I don't even quite know.
That means, are the observers allowed to see the analysis while you're playing? So there are some settings that if you're playing in a tournament match, you shouldn't be able to see the analysis, but the people watching the match can.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I think we're good.
All right. So I'm going to challenge.
So we would like an explanation as to the difference between Heroes and Heroes 3.
The platforms behave exactly the same way. As far as I can tell, Heroes 3 is just a second server, which when there are a lot of tournaments running, sometimes Terje Peterson likes to have tournaments playing on Heroes 3 so as not to overwhelm the Heroes 1 system. But they are two different servers. If you're looking for a friend and they say, I'll meet you at Heroes, and you go to Heroes 3, you won't see them. All right. They're like two different houses that are next door to each other. But Heroes 1 tends to have more people in it. Heroes 3 tends to be used for tournaments.
There is one other specific difference between the two. And if you're a Heroes Premium member, you'll have access to a private database, which is a database of all your matches. That does not exist on Heroes 3. So if you want your match and you play on Heroes 3, you have to download it.
I didn't know that. Okay. All right. Now here we are. We are opening. We have a 4-2. And we get to already use one of my favorite features of Heroes. They also have this feature on Galaxy, but Heroes has more of these little shortcuts. And when people start playing on Heroes, they either love these or hate these. You'll hate it at the beginning, but I say trust it, do it for just a couple of days, and you'll love it. So how do we play a 4-2? And the old-fashioned way is you play a 4 and you play a 2. Right? But in Heroes Land, if I click on the 4 point, it's an empty point. If it can bring 2 checkers to that point, it will. I'll do that. I'll watch. I'm going to click the 4 point, and boom, it instantly makes the 4 point, which is pretty nice. If you ever click an empty point and it can bring 2 checkers there, it will. If it can't bring 2 checkers, but it can bring 1 checker there, it will. And I find that to be much more like real backgammon, is like, oh, I just like, for example, here, I'll undo this. By the way, as Rory pointed out, notice that my clock I haven't played my first move yet, so the clock has not started going down. If I click on this 18 point, it's going to move one checker from the 24 to the 18. Check this out. Just like that, right? So that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to click on the 4-point. I'm going to confirm, and I pick up my dice. All right. Okay, you'll notice, by the way, I'm going to notice how Karen's clock is going down. Karen, all right, next time Karen plays, I'm going to ask you not to pick up your dice because I'm going to pause her clock so you can see how that goes. Okay, so now it's my roll. Okay, and I have double 4s. All right, so how am I going to play this? I'm going to bring 2 checkers to the 20, and I just click on the 20, and boom, they go there. And I'm going to bring 2 checkers to the 9, and boom, they go there, you know, which I think is a fun little shortcut. I'll confirm right now. Okay, so now Karen, as you're, let's pause. I made a mistake here, right? XG didn't like my play. They said it's shaded green, which means it was a small error. It was you can see equity is negative 0.029. That the better play, in its opinion, was I should have played 13-5 twice. All right. It even notes that I spent 38 seconds talking about this play. All right. So anyway, so there we are. And I can at any point look back on this play and click it, and you'll notice there's a whole lot of information. There was the play I made. There's the best play. Those are all the worst plays. At least I got second best. Okay. All right. So now, and finally, to end this, you say, oh, how do I get back to the game? You see in the bar, in the middle of the bar, there's that fast forward button. If I click fast forward, boom, I'm back to the beginning. And now Karen has a 5-4 to play. Now, while Karen's thinking about this, let's say I got a phone call. All right. Then while her turn is going on, I could pause the clock up in the right-hand corner. I can't pause my own clock, right? If I do that, you know, it says, nope, you can't do that, Art. You're not allowed to pause your own clock, but I can pause hers. All right, I look, am I rolling? Am I doubling? No. Okay. I hit roll. I have a 4-2 to play.
But if you're going to pause your clock, you want to tell the person why, right?
Yes, it's good etiquette, sure. You know, so here I might say, be right back in 1 minute in the match chat, right? And I'm going to play a 4-2 like this, 4 and 2. I'm going to hit confirm. And then now while Karen's playing, I'm going to hit, notice her clock is at 9 seconds, 8 seconds. I'm going to pause her clock right now. Okay. So I have paused her clock. So I can run and take my call or go to the bathroom, whatever. And now that clock isn't moving for her. And if she decides to make her to play, that clock doesn't pause until I move my checkers. Okay. So anyway, so I will now, Karen, can you move if you wanted to? You could, right? So you can do that. That clock is paused. You can even play, and her clock is still paused. All right, that clock is still paused. But now, when I hit roll, the clock's going to start moving again. So I look, am I doubling? No. Okay.
Why is it not offering you the option to double?
I'm glad you asked that. There is the option to double if I click on that 64 cube to my right. Okay.
And this speaks to my favorite thing about Heroes, actually.
And because we are customizable, after I make this play, here, I'm going to go into settings. All right. And I go to settings, and I'm going to go to display is board settings, right? Board settings. And I'm going to look at, what is it? Info area?
I believe it's in board elements.
Board elements.
I could be wrong, but I believe it's board elements.
Okay.
Yep.
And so you'll notice down here is a
oh, maybe it's not here. Maybe it's in 1 or 2.
let's try
Input 1 or
input
input 2?
1. Okay. No double button. You see that? No double button. It's right now it's on because I hate the double button where it normally is. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it off. Okay. And you're going to see what that's going to do to my board next turn. All right. So here we go. It immediately applies it. I'm going to make my 3-point by clicking on it. Bam. All right. And now it's Karen's turn. All right. Notice she might have a double button. I don't. All right. Now look at the board. You see, Christine, I can either roll or I can double. And I want to tell you in my lifetime, at least 3 or 4 times in my life where I've been sufficiently tired, I have hit double instead of roll. And that's awful, right? You don't want
Well,
it.
it has a safeguard. It says, because if you click double, it says, do you really want to do that?
Oh, that is true. We'll see that when I double. That's correct, but I don't even want that. And I don't want to worry that something got reset and the protection of checking, because I had that double button show up an hour ago and it's never been there, or it hasn't been there for a long time. Oh, what happened? I've got to go into settings and fix that because I don't like that. So I'm going to hit roll. Double 2. I'm going to make the 5-point. I go 1 and 2 like that. Okay. And unless I should run, should I run? I'm slightly ahead in the race. On the other hand, I have such a nice board. I think I want to keep the contact. So, all right, I'm going to do this. I could be wrong. If it was wrong, it wasn't an error. It says, yeah, my play was practically the best. You know, that's what it says here. It was right to stay back. Okay, so now
by the way, if you take the time, if you have red and it's a bad play, maybe you could make a bad play or two along the way.
I tend to do that naturally enough.
Okay. But when you do that, it's important to look at that moment because sometimes you get the next roll the next time, and whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, whatever mistake you made.
So I'm going to say, look, I really hate this double button. I'll give it one more, but next time I'm playing, I'm gonna get rid of that double button. All right, here we go. I'm gonna hit roll. 4-1. I'm gonna go 9 to 5 and 8 to 7. Okay. All right, Karen has a double 1 to play. Again, I'll remind everyone, if I wanted to pause her clock, I just go to that upper right corner, right above that flag is a clock. And if I click it like I did just now, that clock is paused. It is not going down for her. It's not going down for me. I emphasize that because that's my favorite feature. Okay. All right. Now I say, you know what? I hate this double button. So I'm going to go into the settings. I'm going to go to, this is board settings. I'm going to go to input 1 and I'm going to get that double button on. All right. What is big board dice? It's off. I'm going to see what big board dice look like. I'm going to hit on, see what that looks like. Okay. So I go back and I'm going to hit roll. Big dice. Okay. 4-2. All right, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to slot the 2 points. 7 to 3, 5 to 3. I don't know. All right, bigger dice. Notice now it no longer asks if I want to double. If I double, it's with, I have to click on the 64 cube. All right, 2-1. Let's go 2 and 1. Here, Karen and I are playing an easy holding game, so we're not making too many mistakes. 6-1. Okay, do I make a run for it? Well, let's see. If I click on the 13 point, on top of the 13 point, it'll run a checker all the way to the 13. I'm only ahead by 4 pips and she's on roll. I don't know. On the other hand, if I play it anywhere else, I'm leaving a direct shot. I don't like that. Okay, I'm going to make this play. Good roll. Probably gets a smiley. Yep. Notice the smiley. That was one of her best rolls. So, okay, now it's my turn. 2-6. I dance. Now Karen's going to think about doubling. Yeah, of course, because I don't know if I'm going to take. I don't know if I'm going to take. And she's definitely going to double. She's ahead in the, I have a very strong board, but she's ahead in the race. And so almost half the time I'm going to dance here. So I think this is a drop.
Before you click that, Art,
Yeah.
I just want to let everyone know that if they're playing in a match or especially a tournament that actually where these matches mean something, do not be in a rush. Take your time. I can't tell you how often people accidentally double, accidentally take, accidentally drop when they meant to do something else. I was in a basically gin position in a very, very big important match recently, where I think I was 98% in a race and my opponent redoubled. And he went, oops. And I knew it was a mistake before he said oops. And I was able to contact the director and said, I don't want to win this way. I know it's part of the things that happen, but we made it right by continuing. I was behind in the match. Once I caught up and tied the match in the true actual score, we had 9. It was 9 away, 9 away. So he forfeited the match. We started a new 9 and then continued. But generally, that some directors won't be as forgiving.
That's true. That's true.
Take your time. Don't be in a rush, especially when it comes to the cube.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to resume and I'm ready. And I think I'm ready to drop this. So I drop. And like Christine said, notice when I hit drop, it says, are you sure you want to pass? Like, so there they protect you. And I say, yes, I want to pass. And there it is. And now we could take a look. You know, first of all, notice the clock is paused. We're in consultation mode here. Is the clock, is it paused now still? I don't see
It's paused.
it is paused. Okay. So no, I can go back and see how good was my drop, right? And I say, oh, look at this. It was a double pass, but it sure was close, 1.042. So if I had taken, it would have been an error, but it would not have been a blunder. So that was it was a pass, but I wasn't sure. Now I can go back. How do I go back to where we were? I hit the fast forward button. And now I roll. Double 1. I'll click on that empty 5. And I'll click on the empty 7. And there it is. By the way, I have in my sound effects, the only sound effect that I keep on is the sound effect of the dice being picked up. You know, I don't have sound effects for when I hit or when people hit me. That to me is too distracting. But I want to hear when my opponent picks up their dice. 1, 2, and I don't know, 3, 4.
Hey, Art, can you do me a favor and just undo the last 2? And then click on the 9 point, but lower at the level of the first checker.
Hmm.
Oh, it still moves 2 checkers. I wasn't sure if it would move 1 or 2.
Oh, interesting. I think if you click on it and it's empty, if it can move 2, it will move 2. You know, if it can move 1. Now, otherwise, if it can move 1, it'll move 1. All right. Anyway, that's my play. Karen, you might want to hit me.
Always look at both sides of the board.
That's right.
Art, what do you think about the etiquette of chatting with the person you're playing with during the match? When do you and when don't you?
Well, it depends on what my relationship is with my opponent. If it's Karen and I and we're friends and we're, and we don't have anything at stake here, for me, it's an educational experience. And so I'm happy to say, hey, oops, I think you meant to hit me there, or, I thought maybe you had a double there, or where it's not the one place where it's not so educational is at the end of the game, and you point out their mistakes after the match. It's especially if you've just lost your match and you say, I can't believe you doubled me in that position. That's just what we'd call salty and sour grapes. But I think you should clear it with your opponent too. If you're saying, hey, do you want to talk about this? Do you want to just we'll talk about things at the very end, or set the ground rules beforehand.
Okay, and Mark Emmerich wants to know.
If I could comment on your question, Christine, I'm a very silent player. I almost never comment, and I truthfully don't like it when my opponent talks to me. This is online and we have a pip count, but I'm often counting the race, and having somebody say anything at all kind of breaks my concentration doing the race. So I both prefer silence, and I tend to be a very silent player.
So Karen, if someone keeps texting you, do you say something like, I prefer not to chat during the match, or do you just ignore it?
No, I rarely say anything, but I also don't always respond to something that they are saying.
It's pretty rare that I'll get interrupted during a match with other players saying anything. So it's just between me and my opponent. We're chatting, and it's usually nothing more than be right back.
Mark Emmerich wants to know, isn't there a way in the consultation match where you see every decision as you go along? Personally, I never play consultation except with bots, but one of those buttons in the bottom half on the right-hand side of the screen, house info, graduation cap, etc., will show all the possible moves every roll, I believe.
Well, if you click on any roll from the past, like let's say, here the Karen had a 2-1. If I click on that, we see the play she made and all possible rolls and what the equities were for making all those alternative plays.
But what
Right, but there's a default way to keep that screen up. That was my chat there was, I think one of those buttons will keep that screen up as you go. Every play. I may be wrong. I feel like I've played against bots. In fact, as I'm going, I see that screen the entire time I'm playing, but
I see. And maybe that's the information button.
I honestly, it is. I think, I was thinking it might be the info, but I can't remember for sure.
Well, let's see. I'm going to hit resume, and if I hit information button, I'm not sure. That's giving other kinds of information. Okay.
Try the hat. Try the hat next.
Because that's a teaching.
Just says, hey, we are smart people. Okay. And this is the awesome button. Will that give you the sound effect of telling you if you made the right play, it'll say awesome, which I find distracting. Okay. Anyway, let's keep playing here. 5-1, 5 for me, and another 1. Okay. What I did, was I supposed to slot? Let's see. Yeah, I was supposed to slot. I was supposed to listen to the Olson Michi book saying, oh, look, you've got a priming game going. You're behind in this race. I should have come in on the 24 and gone 13-8 And I mean, I'm down 20 pips in this race, so getting hit isn't such a bad thing. This was it's a good time to slot. I can't be distracted and hit in other parts of the board so easily. In fact, 5s are duplicated. So there it is. That was a mistake. Okay. All right, 6-2. So again, if I want to point on Karen, I can just click above her checker, not on her checker, but above her checker, and that'll make the 3-point. Okay. Double 6. Yeah. Do I have enough to double? It is a score where I have to be a little more aggressive on the double. I don't know. I'm still down 27 pips in this race. I think she's got to take even after the next roll. So I'm going to roll 2-1. And I'm going to slot the 10-point. I want to put pressure on that 4-point. Whoops. What do you think I should do? Said I should have slotted even. I should have brought 2 checkers down instead. Okay, small error. Okay, now it's my roll. Should I be doubling now? She's farther back. She's behind my prime. I'm down 30 pips. I think if I was more of a threat to make the 4, I would double, but I'm not. So I don't think I have enough of a threat. 5-2. I make the 8-point. Next turn, I will seriously think of doubling. 2-5. Now it's not a particularly gammonish position, so I don't want to. I'm normally quick to double in these at this score when it's gammonish, but I've got a broken 5 prime there, and I'm not sure what she's going to do. So I'll take Kit Woolsey's advice, and I am going to double. So I click on my cube and I say yes, let's double.
Raymond Kershaw says in real backgammon, you should not move 2 checkers together.
Oh, in other words, play them one at a time because you might miss something. All right, 4-6. So she takes. Notice she has different sound settings than I do. So when I doubled, you heard her computer say, your opponent doubles. Okay, my 4-6. Out with the 4, continue with the 6. And you'll also notice at this moment, it finally revealed, it shows our double and take to be correct. There, I can click on this doubles and it says, yeah, it was a double. That was the correct cube action. Yes, that was a take. All right, but it sometimes doesn't show you the cube action immediately after you've done it. Okay. 4-2. Well, what's the more valuable point? The 9-point? Well, I can't make the 10-point, so it's moot. I'm making the 9-point and then go on. Okay. Double 6. Okay. Ooh. Well, my 6s are blocked over on that end, so I'm going into attack mode. So attack and make the ace point. Okay. She dances 5-2. Let's get out of there while she's on the bar. 5. And which 2? I don't know. Double 3. I can't make the 4-point. I'm blocked over there. 1, 2, 3. And she's got a blot in her board, so I'll be fully spread out here. All right, 4-2. I can't make that point. There's the 4. Ooh, I gotta lose a builder for the 2, but I'm ahead in the race, so I'll do that. All right. I have my vote. That's my play. Part of the reason is if you stay back, my worst racing numbers become my best attacking numbers. Okay.
Nice.
6-5. Now we're about to enter the bear off, and I get to show off another one of my favorite features. It's called the greedy bear off feature. Now, now notice at the bottom left corner, there is this double arrow. I'm going to click it. It's not going to take effect immediately, but it's going to turn into a black bar. And you'll notice it said greedy bear off enabled. It even says that at the bottom of my screen, greedy bear off enabled. All right, I'm gonna play my checkers, 5 and then 5, 5, 5. What greedy bear off does is if I roll non-doubles and I can take 2 checkers off, then it will immediately take those 2 checkers off. Now, a 4-1 is not a greedy roll. I can't bear off a 4 and a 1, so I have to manually play the 4 and take off the 1. But if it were a 6-1, the 6 and the 1 would immediately come off. And the reason I enable it is 99.99% of the time, a greedy play is a correct play. 5-3. So there's a 5. I can't play greedy, so I go 6-1 and I take the 3 off. Okay. We'll see some greedy plays in a moment. 3-1. You see what it did? Hands off. It took off the 3 and the 1. Watch, no hands. Double 4. That's a forced play. Well, now it's just forced plays. Well, 5-1 wasn't forced. You'll notice 5-1 was not forced, but my greedy bear off took off the 5 and the 1. Right? So there we go. And I think I've now illustrated all the features of heroes that I was looking to do. I'm up 2-1. Gosh, I don't know. This is Gammon Go, isn't it? Maybe I'm supposed to play there. This is Crawford, but if she wins a gammon, she wins the match. So gammons are much more costly than usual, and you see me playing a lot more safe than usual. And so far, those have not been errors. On the other hand, she is now way ahead in the race. So I've got to attack if I can. Oh, here's another feature. First time I've used it. I had the 6-5. Now, if I want to play the 5 first, I have a feature where if I right click on my 8 point, right, it's going to play the smaller number first. So if I right click, or in the case of my Mac, I hit my trackpad with 2 fingers, then that plays the smaller number first. So you have the ability in your settings. I think this is one worth, by the way, if I look at recommended settings, you'll see one of those is the preference file from Rory. So you can play just like Rory by hitting and saying use those, and you have all the ones that he likes. What are some other feature settings? Nah. I'm looking for the setting that says, board settings, input. Right, so here it is, right mouse action. You see where it says right mouse action? You can choose the right mouse to do either to do nothing. It could be your undo. It could mean swap the dice. Or in my case, it says play the right die. And the right die is always the smaller number. So by right-clicking on the 8 point, it goes to the 3. And now I'll click on the 13 point, or click the 7 point, take your pick. It's going to play the 6 from 13 to 7. Okay. 6-2. I'm behind in the race, so I have to keep the contact. 7-5, I right-click. 8-2. Double 6. Well, I'm down 40 now. After double 6, I'll still be down 16. So I'm going to keep contact. Now it's safe to leave, but I'm gonna play like this. Oh, I should have made the amoeba play, right? I should have with my 3-1. I'm sure it meant I should have played 3-4 so that a roll like this could leave a double shot. Played that too quickly. Yep. I hit with the 5. I run with the 6. By the way, if Karen, you know, there's another feature that's sometimes interesting. This feature, this button here at the bottom right, it looks like a fast forward button. That's what you press if you say, don't even ask me about doubling. But that's not really, if you turn the double button off, it's not really so needed. Right, I don't need a gammon here. Let's just I think this is right. 0 is 0. Now I'm just rubbing it in.
Now, Karen, if she wants to, can resign.
She can. Why don't you want to show that? If you go to menu, you could exit
Hey,
match.
Art, you don't actually have to go to menu. There's a little flag in the bottom left.
Oh, there's a flag. The little white flag over there allows you to resign. And by the way, the look at you, Karen, 1.03. If note that greedy bear off, by the way, stays on from game to game. The heroes figures if you like the greedy bear off feature and what's not to love about it, then you're going to want to play it every single game. So this little black square, which is right, the double arrow, which turned into a black square, that means, hey, greedy bear off is on.
Now, can you go through the save match, how that works, please?
So by hitting save match, that creates a text file from this. Here, I'll hit save match. I don't know if you see it on my screen. It says Mathemagics against Karen Davis has created this file. It's now in my downloads. And from my downloads, I could then export it to XG. You could also go through the match right here and review it right now and say, oh, what were my blunders? What were my errors, right? Um, um, so you could review the right now. I will tell you that Heroes has the match analyzed by GNU, which is almost as good as XG, but XG is a little bit stronger. So if you have to listen to GNU's opinion or XG's opinion, XG's is a little more trustworthy. But GNU's is still better than, any human player probably. So it still gives you a pretty good approximation of what was right. Anyway,
They're
yeah.
asking also, how do you make somebody, so everybody noticed you had friends, and there were a few of us whose feelings were hurt because,
Oh my, well, invite me to be your friend.
well, can you
I'll be
show me how,
anyone.
can you show us how to do
So, all
that?
right, I'm going to exit the match.
Okay.
And so I think if anybody's out there and clicks Mathemagics, here, I don't know if I have to do anything, then I think it will allow a friend request to come in. So when you click, so for example, here, let's look at the US players. So I'm gonna, so Chelly Chell, I don't know who you are, but since you've come to this meeting, I shall approve you as a friend. Okay, so Chelly Chell, we are now friends. And now here, I'm going to sort by country. And then I can see, where all the US players are, including Chelly Chell. I see Dorado 11, that's Mario, Gary, Paul.
Now, another question is there any way to find out who the person really is?
Well, let's see. Did anyone just invite me? I'm sorry. Did anyone just invite me? I can, let's see. Let's look at Entregian, who is Entregian? And all I can see is they're from, if I put my cursor on the flag, is they're from Poland. So probably someone I do know who that person is. It's the person who I played in my last WBIF match. And they must have seen that I was only going with friends. So anyway, so anyone else who wants to?
Okay, Rory, are there, somebody wants to know, what's your favorite thing that we don't know about yet?
That's a good question. What's the favorite thing? My favorite thing. We talked about the Noble double button. I also, you can make those buttons, the double button or the roll button, bigger and smaller. You can also move them closer together or further apart. I like the whole clicking on points to make a point or clicking a point to move a checker out. Although I often forget about that when I just click on the checker. Oh, Nightmare 73 is also Justin Nunez, by the
I
way.
know Justin, yeah. Oh, there he is, sure.
And then Art, what's your favorite thing that we don't know about yet?
Oh gosh, well, I'm glad we got to see the greedy bear off.
Which is really cool, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I do
sometimes,
have one thing.
yeah.
Art, do me a favor and click main
Okay.
and then click WBIF. And so this is an absolutely fantastic little thing where the WBIF stands for the World Backgammon Internet Federation, and their website is WBIF.net. There are tons of tournaments that you can play in at WBIF, and all their matches are played here on Heroes. And instead of having to look around and figure out who your opponents are or try and find them in Heroes when you're supposed to meet to play, all you have to do is click on once you've registered for a WBIF, there's an integration where it makes that WBIF button will pop up for you under the main button, and your opponents are just there and you can see if they're online. If you can see Mathemagic is highlighted here, which is Art. If he had other opponents waiting to be played, they would also be there, but if they were online, there would be a box around them like there is now, but if they weren't online, they'd be kind of faded out. You would still see it, but there wouldn't be a box around the name.
Mhm.
And that integration is absolutely fantastic between WBIF and Heroes. And the matches are automatically uploaded to their website and analyzed, and you get PRs from WBIF on all your matches. If anyone is ever interested in playing in a WBIF tournament, you can definitely reach out to me. I am I don't know if you want to call what you want to call it, but the US admin for WBIF. You don't have to send money to Europe using PayPal because you pay fees. Instead, you can just PayPal, Venmo, Zelle me, and I'll actually apply a credit to your account.
Yeah, thank you, Rory.
Rory, this is Karen.
Yes, ma'am.
Art, if you could click on private DB.
Oh, sure.
Yes, of course.
Oh, and by the way, before we do that, I wanted to point out that some players who are here 24/7 are computer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can see they're all busy playing matches right now, but that's another person you can always play when they're not playing, and you can play against a computer like you're almost playing against XG, and they never complain, they never insult
And
you.
by the way, it'll kill your rating.
Well, you're not going to beat their PR. Although they do play at different skill levels, you're still not going to beat their PR. Okay,
Art,
so now
we have a question, Art. If you would be willing to come back and do one more session on how to, once you load it into XG, how to look at it.
to do a what to do with your XG and playing there. Yeah, we could do that. Again, there may be others who learn from XG even more than I do, but I'm happy to show you what I do. And speaking of learning tools, Karen asked the question, let's look at the private database. And it'll allow you, if you are a premium member, and honestly, I recommend that everybody become a premium member for Heroes. I mean, it's like $35 a year, something like that, $40. It's a small amount of money to keep a site like this going. This is Terje Peterson, God bless him, is retired software engineer, and this is his full-time passion project. And he's not making a mint off of this, but whatever we can provide him with, if a few hundred people of us give him $40 a year, that's a nice way of saying thank you for all he's doing. And this is just filled with learning tools.
Hey,
And
Art, can I say
also,
something
if your
about that?
PR is too low, you're not allowed to play against the computer.
Rory.
I just want to say one thing about Heroes and Tirje as well. I actually have an account set up with him where I can collect premium fees and send them to him directly at virtually no cost using a online bank called Revolut. And if you're either a WBIF member or a USBGF member or part of any other World Federation, a paid member, it's only 25 euros a year, which is about 27 or $28. So
Right.
if you want to become a Heroes premium member, and one of the biggest benefit to that is this private database, but also if the server gets overloaded, the first people that it bounces out are non-premium members. You can be in the middle of a match, but if the server gets overloaded and it needs to reduce capacity, you might get bumped out of a match.
Let's put it more positively. If you're a premium member, you get priority service.
Yes, that is correct.
And you get to play
That's a
longer
better way to spin it,
matches.
Art. Thank you.
Like you might not be able to play. What's the longest match you can play? If both players are non-premium members, then you're limited to what?
It's
7?
either 9 or 11. I
9,
can't
11?
remember.
You can't play like 13 or 15-point matches. Now I'm going to explore. I'm going to hit my completed matches. I'll look at the last 100 matches that I've played. And here they are. And I can look and see the PRs. I can see the win-loss, my PR, my opponent's PR. They could put it in a graph if I want to see how it's gone, how well I've played over time. What else do I love about Heroes? Let's go into the studio. Right?
Hang on a second. My very favorite thing on Heroes, go back into private database, hit button number 13. I love this, the training
Training
tracks.
tracks.
I love this. So
Yes,
you can go
that's
in.
Mark, that's what I was looking for. Look at these training tracks. These
I don't have
are,
much. I
what's
got
that?
hundreds. I got hundreds on each of those, but
I
because I
don't,
make more
you're
mistakes, but
right.
they're
Well,
just
that's,
fantastic.
I see. The training tracks is showing where you've made your errors. Is that what it's doing? Like,
Yeah, but you're not getting them. I have, if you look at mine, I'd
Oh.
have like under opening, well, not opening reply because I don't make it, but third roll, I'd have maybe 70. And I go and do play and I go through the 70 that mistakes I've made on my third roll
that you made.
that
Now,
I made
I
and
don't
they
know
put
why that
up.
is, because clearly, Mark, I am making errors and blunders. So
Yeah,
it's not
but
like
you
I should
noticed it
only.
said something about enabling that. You don't have a button hit where they're moving that over. For some reason, they're not adding your mistakes to your database.
I
most
might
of the
have, I
games.
might have dismissed something that asked me if I wanted them, and I may have said, "What do I want? I'll do it later." So
I
that's a
promise you, this
great question.
page is phenomenal.
All right, so
because
Mark, can you lead me to that? Where, okay, click
Well,
enable
we could maybe go,
to
I
enable
could
the
share, I could
automatic
share my
tracking of
screen if you wanted me to. I could go into my database if anyone would be interested and show
Sure.
you because
Well, we
Because I-
try to keep this to an hour, so maybe
okay.
we could do that another
Oh, okay, I
time.
didn't know
So
that.
You've got two. You could.
I'm
could
going to
you
click
on one
to
of those?
enable
Yeah.
here. So error tracking is now enabled. Thank you, Mark. So that you've helped me, because this means as I play, my errors and blunders will be caught here. But the other thing I
just love
wanted,
that one thing.
the other thing I
Yeah.
wanted to show is where are all those quizzes and tools? Practice. Let's hit practice. Practice makes perfect. Private DB.
Number 13, training track.
All right. Training tracks.
Well, that was what I was, yeah, but that's where we
But I
got.
think that was training from your own, unless you're actually able to. So here, if I click, I don't know, what do I have to?
You won't have anything. You've only got those ones in
So
number
it's
19
only
and
going to
number
be checking from.
7.
So if I say play, no
There's nothing-
positions
yeah.
available. It has to be. But where is where is it? If I say practice, as a premium player, Backgammon Studio.
I could be wrong, Art, but I think that's not here. It's in studio Backgammon Studio.
So you're saying because I'm in Heroes but not Studio.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm in menu. If I go menu, how do I get into Studio? Or is it just a different website? It says Backgammon Studio Heroes.
Go to menu, and at the near the bottom it says switch server, and then you can click to studio and go to the studio server.
Switch server. But let's try that. So I'm in the main Heroes. Study server. Oh, hey, where do we find that again? Where did it say switch server? I want to find that again.
Under menu, second from the bottom, or for me, it's second from the bottom.
From the bottom, switch server. I'll go to study server. Okay, and now
And this is actually the Backgammon Studio.
this is the studio. Logged in. And now if I go to training tracks here, this is just paradise. I mean, you want to probably a way to improve your game. We all like to play and check out our PR and see the mistakes. But if you really want to focus on one aspect of the game, this is just thousands and thousands of different positions. I mean, you want to look at containment here. Let's, and it's going to say, okay, here are containment problems. These are problems that came out of real matches, right? You can see Dirk Sheeman and Ibrahim Karaka played this match, and Black had a 6-1 to play, and Black made an error. And the question is, if Black wants to contain the 6-1, how do you play it? I would have
very good.
I'd say 19 to 12 might be my my position. Let's see. You know, in other words, if he gets a 6, if he gets double 6, he wins anyway. If he rolls 6 something else, I want to be there to attack him, right? So that's my play, and it says, how do I do? I submit that. And it says your answer. No, he says, no, sorry, it was 22-15. Yeah, I said, told me I was wrong. I could go back to it. Here was the right play. My play was an error by 0.037. And I've now answered 0 correct answers in a row. I can still think about what I've learned here, or I can go on to the next position. All right. And they'll say, oh, here are the people who are, you know, the all-time record is 14 of these in a row. Today, somebody's gotten 3 in a row. So if I really wanted to work hard today, I could probably get 4 in a row. But I got to tell you, containment positions are hard. So I can go to the next retry. Right? Okay. Here's what Heroes deems to be another containment problem. How do you play the 6-1 here? What are we trying to accomplish? Probably we can't gammon them. Are we trying to stop them from anchoring? Do we simply play 10-3, or do we hit 3-2? You know?
I think I would point on head.
You point on head and break your prime, right? Okay.
Yeah, it looks like that's not an option.
Yeah, it is. It's the first option, 8-2-3-2. Right?
Oh, okay.
Right? Like, okay, you got 2 on the bar. You're not trying to prime. You're just going to attack. I like Rory's play. Let's submit that. And we're correct. Yeah, great. Here, let's see if we can get 3 in a row. Let's see if we can tie today's record as a group. Okay. So next position. Double aces. And you know, there's a little bit of quiz factor in that. You know, whoever made this play played it wrong. So, but still, how do you? They've got 5 checkers off. Well, I think we want to get a second checker, right? So impulsively making the ace point would be, we want to hit on the ace, but and we want to get hit back, so we have a chance at hitting one of those other checkers. So I want to go 2-1, 7-4. Any other opinions? So
do we know what the score is on that match?
Yeah, it's a score is 10-8 in a 17-point match. We see that up here.
Yep.
And we own a 2 cube, so all that is relevant. What's useful information here? I know that if we close them out, then they're still a favorite because they've got, you know, at 8 checkers off, they're 50-50, and each additional checker is worth about 9%. So they have what, 9 checkers off? I misspoke? 9 checkers off. So they're a slight favorite in this position if we close them out. So we want to get a second checker. So we're going to go 2-1, and I vote for 7-4.
I agree.
All right, Rory agrees. Let's submit that. And they say, no, not quite. They say slightly better was to break the prime, right? That is, go, you know, going 2-1 was right.
This makes sense.
7-6.
Because now you can play a 5 and not close them out.
Especially because if you got 1-6, you'd have to hit twice, which would give you more advantage to hit on the other side.
Yeah, if they get a 1-6, we're not really unhappy. We've got a great with two attackers. That's actually to our advantage, right? We got 2 attackers to get that last checker again. So there we go. All right. Well, anyway, I think we'll stop here because I know, Christine, you like to keep this on time.
We try to be tight. But another question that came up that somebody DM'd is if you have to be invited to play in Heroes. So if you need an invitation to go ahead and set up an account, and a couple of people have asked about it, just email us at womensworldofbackgammon@gmail.com gmail.com, and we will send you an invite and walk you through setting up your account. Art, thank you. Somebody else says, will you come back again?
Oh, I love coming back. So sure.
And thank you so much. Karen, thanks for playing. Nice
It
PR
was an honor.
there.
It's always an honor to play Art. I always learn from him.
Okay, and
I
also
think, Karen, you were teaching this time.
That's right. I got schooled. And yeah. So anyway, look at all these features that Heroes has. I just think it's yeah, I mean, these training tracks, I could spend the next hour just going through containment problems like this, and it's an endless supply. And you'll get better. And you'll get
And
better
Christine,
in a
before we
specific
let everyone
aspect
go,
of the
there
game.
is actually one other thing we should point out. I forgot about this. Art had mentioned it, but we didn't show them how do people do it. If you want to go switch servers back, Art, we want to show people how to get to the recommended settings.
All right, so I hit, let's see, let's exit the,
Oh, is there not?
let's see, back. Will that do anything? Okay, all right, menu. I'll go back. All right, menu. All right, home.
Oh, actually, I guess you can probably do it from here. Menu,
Okay,
settings. Oh, those are not the hero settings. I think you need to switch servers.
okay, so I'm still in studio, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, one can log out. Oh, switch database. Are we doing that? Switch database.
No, that's
No. No.
I think you just have to log. Looks like you can't switch servers. You have
can't
to
get
just.
we
there
could
from
do it
here.
next time though. We'll try to do it
Okay.
next time as that. But also, Rory, thank you for showing
ma'am.
up and being here and
Oh, I'm
helping.
so
My
grateful.
pleasure.
And we didn't know we had a famous Heroes person who has their own list of follow Rory. That's amazing.
Yeah, use Rory's settings, and he's a great resource for Heroes as well.
So
Yes,
Karen,
if
you
anyone
anything
ever
to
has a
wrap up?
question, feel free to reach
Yeah.
out. I'm happy to help.
Karen, any wrap up?
Well, thanks to both Rory and Art for very informative. As always, Women's World of Backgammon will be putting this up on YouTube, so you're able to review it at your leisure. But I would also like to just mention that we are doing, for those who would like to play on consultation mode, we're doing a peer coaching clinic once a week, typically late on Fridays. So if you're interested in that, again, use the email that Christine gave you, and we'd be happy to have you join those sessions.
Right.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great night.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.